How's it going, guys? I think it's pretty interesting that we got to follow band protocol. I think we make some, we're also in Oracle, but we make some specific design changes or choices. I won't cuss. WTF is the open data market. So the one thing I want everyone to take away from the presentation is our belief on customization and free market dynamics. So as a user of different dApps, you kind of notice that you kind of see the same forks, the same types of protocols everywhere you go. And so we have a core belief that new types of data is going to bring new types of innovation to the space. So for our team, we're a group with strong background in data infrastructure and low latency trading, who noticed a problem in the existing Oracle space. Meredith, our co-founder, has experience at Social Graph. Our CTO created pricing infrastructure for high-frequency trading firms, super low latency stuff. Kyle was at the TIE, and myself, I was previously in banking, and then decided to do a bunch of DeFi research, started making memes, and then developed an obsession with oracles, which is a pretty interesting and unique journey. So we've all developed this kind of obsession with oracles. Most of my DeFi friends couldn't really understand why I would care about oracles. But once you start kind of looking into the development process and you start to recognize that all these different dApps start to look the same, you come to realize that most of it is an Oracle problem, and there's been limited innovation because of the data and Oracle problem. So the core issue is that that oracles are inefficient and rigid. They're not built for today's developers. They're kind of adopting a one-size-fits-all approach, and but in reality, an oracle is just simply put taking off-chain data and putting it on-chain. Shouldn't really be that hard, shouldn't really be that costly, and I'm going to kind of walk you through why it exists in the way it does. So this is kind of the current or the initial model for something like Chainlink. So they basically just aggregate the off-chain data, validate it, and push it on-chain, and do all the aggregation on a smart contract. So every new deployment on a new chain needs all of this. It's super costly, and when we live in a world where there's multiple rollups, multiple different chains, it's kind of, it doesn't really scale. So this is how you can see that it doesn't scale. So the kind of core thing to recognize is that in the Oracle space, not scaling is actually built into the incentive model. When a new chain, new rollup comes alive, or a protocol needs a new custom feed, that is a new monetary benefit, a new area to charge. And so the Oracle space just has incorrect incentive models. And God forbid you need something custom, and so that's kind of what you see where some protocols are choosing to centralize their Oracle. That was kind of our origin story on the Arbitrum ecosystem. Chainlink was one of the first and only oracles for certain perpetual dexes, and what we recognized in the early days was that there were these protocols that were listing new markets, but these markets were not supported by Chainlink feeds. So they're just slapping on a Chainlink logo and, in reality, building some solutions in-house. So we kind of came to fruition on solving that perp-dex problem, and I'll discuss that in a sec. And then other oracles entered the space, oracles like Pith, who were prioritizing multi-chain, more feeds, more publishers, cheaper costs, and more data types. In reality, that system is still limited to, it still has some pretty key limitations. It's one entity that decides what data is available. They forked Solana, so in reality, it's never going to be faster than 400 milliseconds. And it's a private chain, so there's no way to verify the inputs, and you're still left with a marginal difference on the cost for new chain support, new asset support, and very little customization. And what I want people to notice in this kind of stack on this chart and the previous chart is the Oracle tends to just live in the center. And the smart contract was invented on Ethereum like 10 years ago. And what got me so involved and interested in oracles was the fact that this is like one of the only areas left where there's still large middlemen entities that sit between the people with the valuable data and the people that need it. And so they're a huge limiting factor on what is possible on chain for different dApp developers. So at Stork, we're really aiming to bring customization and free market access to oracles. We want to completely eliminate the need for a middleman entity and kind of change the entire landscape. So this landscape is what we're calling the open data market. So this is the part of like WTF is the open data market. In short, it's a place where developers can directly interact with and transact with data publishers that have the valuable data and request or create their own oracle. We're calling them composite oracle services. You'll see it in the next slide. But basically it allows for fair market dynamics, free market dynamics, no middlemen, just complete like interaction between developers and publishers. So this is a little bit of a scary chart here. But the three things I want people to notice are first, the COSs or the data brokers. These sit in the center and basically aggregate and customize and configure the different types of data. So different types of like raw data. So it could be anything from like NFT price feeds, crypto asset price feeds, it could be prediction market data, and it can be completely like customized in the aggregation process. These COSs can be built by anyone. Anyone can come onto the marketplace, build a COS, earn against their COS, and for any type of data. Subscribers, so these are the chains, ecosystems that basically request different types of data or request a specific COS. So you could imagine a protocol that we're partnered with. We built a custom COS for them called Ostium. They're trying to bring RWAs and commodities to perpetuals, leverage on different long tail commodity assets. And so their like edge is in their oracle. They cannot build the product they want without like a strong oracle system. And so they have like a private COS that they've built and they've incentivized to be built. And they're getting proprietary data directly from the publishers. It gets aggregated exactly how they want it and gets distributed. So when you have such an important edge, that edge can be like privatized, it can be monetized. You can use your token to incentivize that in the agreement, so you perpetually maintain that edge throughout the life cycle of the protocol. And for the other element is the publishers themselves. So these are the entities with the actual value. Previously, it's been very hard to kind of contribute data to a network and earn revenue against it. We built out a very performant SDK under our publisher agent that basically automates the entire publishing process for publishers. So any company with proprietary data can become a publisher on Stork within an hour of dev time. So then that's everything. And then the chains, so these can all be customized. The COSs can be customized for any validation process. You can have it validate to eigenlayer AVSs. You can have all sorts of customization in the aggregation methodology. And so the kind of cycle for a developer is just hopping onto a UI and hopping onto a UI, requesting a specific type of Oracle, and it just kind of automatically happens. The payment process is all automated, and everything is transparent and verifiable. So the entire process is permissionless. It's compatible with any chain. There's all the data is accessible at market rates, and the market decides what is high quality and low quality data. And it's extremely easy for data publishers to kind of integrate. So that completely removes the need for a middleman entity. And for instance, another workflow is if you're a perps protocol and you know a new asset is going to be listed on an exchange, you have a strong edge in being the first protocol to offer perps on that asset. You can request that data feed simply through a UI, and that gets fulfilled by the publishers at like very high speeds. So we've tested this theory out. I mentioned a second ago with Arbitrum perp dexes, where we initially recognized this problem. We leaned into the concept of customization for our first COS on the marketplace called the Stork for real-time COS. We created on and off-chain infrastructure that's brought the latency down to 10 milliseconds. It's got like 2,000 plus assets, more than any other Oracle. The frequency is faster. Everything is better, and that comes from the fact that everything is like largely customized. And in a year and a half, this has processed over like 300 billion in total transaction value, like top 3 amongst all the Oracles. And it kind of proved out the value of customization and custom solutions. When you kind of build an Oracle specifically for perp dexes, it shouldn't cost millions or hundreds of thousands of dollars for someone to deliver it in 12 to 18 months. It should be a lot quicker and more efficient when you lean into customization and those like free market dynamics. So yeah, no more Oracle extortion. We've talked to developers from lending protocols, perpetual exchanges, all kinds of developers who legitimately feel extorted by some of these Oracle providers. They're forced to pay huge amounts to maintain what is a very simple feed. You don't want to have to hold or accumulate a bunch of an Oracle's token just to get a response on the TG message for getting a new feed up, and it's all reliant on free market dynamics. So this is what we envision deploying a COS to look like. Basically, in the simplest form, it'll come down to a simple UI where you can change all the parameters, you can choose the chain, you can choose validation mechanisms, and you can choose the data type, the publisher, and you can have a validator or an Oracle in hours instead of months. And so another core piece is the permissionless publishing. We firmly believe that new data types are going to create new types of apps, and most other competitors are choosing to limit who can be a data publisher. We take an approach where we want to have permissionless data publishing so that anyone with proprietary or valuable data can contribute that to the marketplace, and it can be utilized for a COS or it can be plugged in directly to different protocols. And so we've kind of tested this theory out with our most recent publisher. Previously, we focused mainly on high-frequency trading firms and publishers for the crypto asset price feed, but prediction markets have gained some steam, and we recognized that and started building a solution specific to prediction markets. The public APIs are just not sufficient or reliable enough to build upon, and dApp developers needed new sources of truth. And what I found the most interesting when Kalshi chose us to deliver their data to any chain is they were super adamant on becoming a source of truth on chain. As more users come on chain and more money is kind of making decisions on chain, Web2 companies who really are hesitant on anything to do with Web3 will be more open and more willing to kind of contribute their data. And it only took them an hour within our publisher agent to come onto the marketplace. We won't take credit for them, choosing to list USDC on their platform, but in terms of the timeline, it does look really well. And we have like a firm belief that if we can onboard more unique Web2 publishers with different data types, they can earn on that proprietary data. It's like a really nice stepping stone for them to kind of be more involved in the crypto space. So we see it as a very strong onboarding pipeline. We are looking to, we're in the process of onboarding different Web2 companies around ticketing, around FX, around commodities. There is also potential that everyone in this room becomes a publisher. Everyone here has very unique user data that they could earn against, and that protocols will find super valuable, but that's a little bit later down the road. But yeah, that is it. So yeah, if anyone is looking to build anything and needs Oracle support and doesn't want to be extorted by an Oracle provider, just DM us.
Incredible.